Texas edition. And those of you that are secondary, would you just bear with me right now and wanting to be the secondary, because if you're doing, you know, most of this is not going to be in the inquiry, is not going to be applicable to your secondary kiddos. All right, the inside inquiry, then the professional development, if you'll just click on the professional development, we'll take a look at it real quick. And this is where you can find those resources that I was telling you about. This is going to tell you about there's going to be the getting started, pre-test, projects, rubrics, comments. Then there's some other resources like how to create your classes, how to add students, and all that that I will show you. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say breadcrumbs. We're going to follow breadcrumbs. It's usually best not to use the back button. And that's true of many of the online software packages anymore, that they tend to not like it when you use the back button. So look for breadcrumbs, and these are the breadcrumbs right here. This is where I'm at, professional development. You can't hardly read that. Then we were here, inquiry for grades K through 8, so I'm just going to here. Or if you click on the line pretty bigger. But these breadcrumbs will take me back step by step where I was. And
It's the TEACS edition?
Yes, the TEACS.
Yeah.
Inquiry for your K through 8 Texas edition TEACS. There. Okay.
Thank you.
Then the next, then you'll see grade K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That there are inquiry products for each of those. So I'm just going to right now just click on any. I'll click on grade 3, since we did seem to have. The inquiry is especially. Let me ask you this: do the classroom teachers, are they responsible for integrating technology, or is it all of the technology instruction coming through the Tech Apps teachers?
I would say mostly through the Tech Apps. In my school, it's probably mostly through us.
I mean, usually that's if a teacher can, you know, they have so much on their plate now that if they not to be taught. But some districts are trying to make the teacher responsible. So we're going to look at it as if you are, this is the way I sort of see it. If I was in your position, if I was a Tech App teacher and I taught third graders, I might want to, I don't know if you need to go into sit on team meetings or anything, but I would want to find out what they're, you know, maybe third grade is, they're doing a states project or something. I want to find out what the curriculum is, the core curriculum, and then maybe find one of these projects that would integrate that core curriculum into this. So these are designed so that a classroom teacher teaching third grade, maybe a math, you know, maybe they're doing geometry, she could choose an inquiry project that would integrate that geometry knowledge into a technology project. So each grade level then has got 6 projects ready to go. There's 2 math, 2 language arts, a science, and a social studies. And if you've used learning.com before, you're going to really notice that the user interface for inquiry is very different. It's much more exciting. They are going to.
This one is for kids for high school also, or just for?
There's everyone in here right now. There's in high school too.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how well it's going to meet your needs, but we'll figure it out. Are you in high school?
Yes.
have fun, and I don't know of another place you're supposed to be, so if someone would help her get in, here's her username and password. So there are 6 different projects for grade 3. There's teacher resources. In each of the grade levels, you're going to find teacher resources. So there's an inquiry guide for 3rd grade, and there's a little page, and they look like this. Let me tell you what these look like. I mean, you can click on them and look at them, but there's going to be a 3-page guide that explains the different parts, the pretest, the project, and the reflection piece. And then the project list is a list of the 6 projects for that grade level. And for instance, grade 3, I can look at the, well, we'll just do it like you will do it. So, anytime you click on a lesson, this is true for teacher resources or any other lesson, there are different ways that you can view it. I'm going to click view right here, and this actually lets you pop up. So the inquiry projects, it lists all of those products, those are projects there. So that's under teacher resources. I'm going to use my breadcrumbs. I'm going to go back to projects grade 3. And this is one that you might want to look at more closely if you teach 3rd grade. I really like this lesson. Another, so I'm going to click view to use this. It's actually sort of a unit. Every project consists of a pre-test, which we'll talk a little bit more about, the actual project, and then the 3rd part's a reflection piece. And you'll see this in just a second. I'm going to let you see how this would be if you were a student, what they would see. But in this window, this is the pre-test. So that this is sort of a, I want to give you enough information to let you explore productively, and then we're going to come back and talk about your questions that you might have. So in this, the PT is a pre-test. You can view the pre-test by clicking on here. Now, when you're as a teacher, and I gave y'all teacher accounts, right? These demo accounts right now are teacher accounts. So you're seeing this as you will see when you get your own teacher accounts. But this is what a student will see as a pre-test. The good thing about this is when the student opens it up and it's assigned to them, they have to go through it and their scores count. You can preview it just by going through it. So you would just start this pre-test and you would start answering the questions. There's anywhere between 9 and 15 questions on a pre-test. This is my own feelings about this, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but I think if you've got a project that involves a lot of different technology skills, 9 questions or 12 questions or even 15 questions is not really enough questions to adequately know if the students know how to do this. You can actually find the lessons that go along with it too. And for me, I think I would assign the lessons and then let them take the pre-test to sort of see what they remembered. But there's they go through, and as they, and I'm not, let's see what types do keywords. And so they're going to go through, these are going to light up as they answer them, and when they're through, they can check their answers. And it will show them which ones they got correct, what the correct answers were for the ones they missed. It's a great little pre-test, and how they scored goes into their grade book, which by the end of the day, you will see how the grade book works. I just want you to be able to explore right now. So I'm going to actually get out of this pre-test. This is the project, so when you're here, you can view what the project will look like to the student. And this, for those of you that have used learning.com, this is really going to look different to you. I think this is why I really love this, because everything, all the work's done. And the students then are taken through, and they know exactly what to do. So in the teacher view, now the student will not see the lesson plan part, the lesson plan tab. They will just see the project. But in this view, this is what I'd like for you, when you're looking at these projects, and you need to look at them with a critical eye. Are they going to meet your needs? The good thing is, there's on the lesson plan part, and you can access this in another way, I'm going to show you, but it tells step by step exactly what to do. The core content, that curriculum content too. So it's not just technology, that's why it's built like for a classroom teacher. But a classroom teacher might want to teach this core stuff, and you handle the technology part, where the students would actually come to your computer lab to do the technology part of it, but the teacher does the teaching on this. So it might be up to you to share with your teachers how they could do this. Or you could even print out the lesson plan for them to follow so that they do that core curriculum teaching part of it. So there's each part works them through where there's teaching, and then it will have them do a little bit inside the project, and then there's more teaching, and finally it comes down to where they're actually finishing all the work up. To see what the students see, they get something like this. This project had 3 parts. The first part is there's a task for the first part, and it will tell them what to do. I love line, and the students really like doing that. So they go through each of the tasks. You'll see what the students see. But back over to the reflection part of this, the third part, the reflection piece, they'll actually go through and they will evaluate themselves in completing this. And at any time they can access this to see what's expected of them. If those students that want to do the very, very best, they can see what is expected of them to get a level 4. K-1 and 2, there's an audio feature. If you see the, actually in 3 too. So for the ones that are having trouble reading, they can always, anywhere there is an audio icon, they can have it read to them. Oh, maybe. So I'm going to go back, close this. It's reading the whole thing.
That added important information to my story.
All right, this is a glossary of terms that will be introduced in this project. Okay, that's if you see this, if you clicked on these views. When you click the view button here, or if you click the view button in the description, you're actually seeing sort of what the student sees. But if you want to see more detail for the teacher, for you as a teacher, you can click on the actual lesson title. And so this is what I'm going to show you about the pretest. Even though the pretest may have 9 to 15 questions to let's say that this project needs, they're going to be using a Word document, and maybe they're going to be using clip art, then they may have to, or if they're doing research, maybe a search engine, there'll be some questions about a search engine. They will need to 9 to 15 questions might assess their capability, but it may not. But this is going in teacher notes, right here, it's going to tell you the easy tech lessons that are associated with this project. And these will look familiar to you if you use them for it. And you can click on these and you can actually assign those, which we'll talk more about signing in a little bit. So this tells me that in this 3rd grade lesson, they're going to need to know about keyword searches. So this is an easy tech lesson that you can assign to them instead of just depending on that. The students can make good guesses. especially in this technology. They are exposed to so much technology that they pretty well can reason out technology. So they could actually pass every single question on a pretest, but not really know how to use keyword searches. Does that make sense? So you might want to assign this lesson instead. I'm going to view it. This is the difference in an inquiry lesson and what you're familiar with on the learning.com Easy Tech lessons. So this is an Easy Tech lesson on web browsing and basics and keyword searching. And you have access to all this. As Tech App teachers, I see y'all using a lot of the Easy Tech stuff in your classes. So they would just start the lesson, and this is 27 slides in this, and it will give them information and then give them an opportunity to respond to it. And I'm going to go through all that. So I'm going to go back. That was, I was actually, this is one time I am going to use the back button because, okay, so you do have this inside the teacher notes for the pretest. It will tell you the Easy Tech lesson. You don't even have to go looking through the library. It's going to tell you right there. You click on a link, you sign it to the class, which I really like. You don't have to go looking to see what's going to be, what they consider appropriate for this. All right, so I'm going to go back to the life and times. We looked at the project from the student, from the interface view. Now this is actually the teacher view. The kids would never see this view. So there's an overview. These are the details. Technology skills required, vocabulary. There's an overview, a timeline. When would they do part 1? When would they do part 2? You'll see there is a part 1, but the task 1 that we looked at a minute ago is not even assigned until you get to part 2 in the lesson plan. Part 3, part 4. Teacher notes. This is where you can find other resources. I mean, everything is here. It is so great. Everything's here. You should not have to go look for anything else. Implementation strategies. You know, how is this best used? Is it best used in a computer lab, in the classroom with just 2 or 3 computers at home? ELPs that we saw, you know, when we clicked on lesson plan in the project, this is the same thing. Part 1 tells you exactly what to do step by step. So you could actually provide this to a classroom teacher that may be doing the curriculum part, the core content part, to make sure that they have all of that. Because your job is to teach technology, not to teach social studies, but we want to do it all together because that's going to be more meaningful to the students. The rubric is right here. The rubric is right here, and it's the same as that reflection piece. We saw the rubric in the project. It's just that it's in this form so that you can sort of look at it. Before you ever assign it, you might not want to go through the other one. You want to just take a look at it here. Categories are the categories that's listed under, and the standards are, I'm not sure what, there they are. So there's the national standards, and it doesn't have the Texas, standards that are listed. I'm not sure why. I'll check on that with them. Okay, so what I would like for you to do right now, because you all have a grade level, and I'm going to be trying to look at what I need to do for the secondary, for those that are beyond grade 8, to take a look at your K through 8 inquiry Texas edition with the TEKS. I would like for you to look at different lessons and projects. We're going to maybe spend about 20, 25 minutes on that. But you can also, when you're in there, I didn't have all this. Actually, I could hide that, couldn't I? So you'll want to look at your grade level. And then here's the Easy Tech. This is supplement. This is the K2. You can't see that. You'll see that in yours. K2, 3, 5, and 6-8. So let's say that you teach 5th grade. You could go here to the Easy Text supplement, and this is going to take you to the different Easy Text lessons that you can also assign. So you don't even have to do an inquiry project with your students. You can do just the Easy Text. But I want you to know about all of it. Because I think the inquiries, it would be really nice to be able to integrate those curriculum areas. So we're about, let's take about 25 minutes for y'all to just explore all of those things. And tell me my secondary, my 9th and up. How many teach 9th and up? Okay, let me try to figure out what you're supposed to do today. No, but I don't want you.
I can take the 5 as well.
We have a login card. So let me find out. What do you teach? This is probably not going to. So, if somebody tells you to come here, or you just all say that? Yeah, I think we can, you'll get your credit for this. And so I so you got to teach your login, create secondary kids, like, you know, they probably would, you just give them, I don't know how much that you would put into the little complex. But, see, there are some things, if you will look go back to the, on that one, can y'all tell me the login for the actual computer? Someone, to actually get into the computer, what is the login?
It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the password, let's say she changed it over the summer.
She's gonna meet you.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if that'll work.
I get the first one for this.
You go ahead and use it. It's on.
I'm
Okay.
Oh, okay, they go ahead and use it. Oh, it's not.
Kids are working until 3 o'clock, right? So
You know, I don't normally use Chrome. I use Firefox, so I haven't had that experience yet. So you might have to just,
where is she? Where is she?
I use Firefox, but y'all have Chromebooks. So if you had Chromebooks, then you're, I like.
So I need Firefox giving me
Okay, but would somebody else say one more time what the, did you try one? Well, she doesn't, she has tried that.
I know, I need to talk to them.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right, so let me, if you will go back to the library.
Did you know the first one?
Go down. Oh, you were using it, okay, so use it in account.
Okay, listen.
So that's all y'all have, all right, so this is what y'all have access to.
What?
I don't know.
Do what?
I don't know about this.
I didn't, no, they're not telling me anything.
It's your card.
It's always.
Yeah. They haven't said to me once that I don't have this. Did I tell you that the warranty company lost over 100 of our claims? And so there are still Chromebooks that have been because I've had to redo the claims. Not redo them, but resend them and go through all the Chromebooks to fix it. So I thought, But I told them, I said, we had about 80% of the comments come back. Yeah. All right, so did you see, so what are you teaching? What are you going to be teaching them?
I would suggest.
Oh, good. Really? Yeah, that's awesome. So, does the girl who replaced you, does she do all this? Does the woman who replaced you, does she do all this? I can't. I can't. I don't have the time. Unfortunately, there's a lot of very sad people in our school. A lot of the teachers have already said that you're missed. Yesterday, Nancy, the fourth grade teacher, Nancy, she came in and she goes, I can't let him know. She was.
If you have any questions, please feel free just to shout out at me. So I need to find a resource for you real quick.
Tell her.
I know we need to. Second grade. Ready? I'm so not photogenic. It's terrible.
You did good. She's gonna get mad.
Jealous, but she'll be. Look.
I'm gonna take that.
That's fine. I didn't think you were gonna wear it, but
I wear it.
I expected more people to be here.
I've never been to our past time.
By the way, I like the clean look. Take that away. It looks good.
How much should I do? I mean, first road back college,
It looks good without it. Do it without it. Do it without it. What does your wife think? Should I carry one?
No, so, I just tried. I got the same impression from everybody, so I decided to keep it that way.
Which way?
Oh, this really feels better.
You like it without it?
Everybody said.
Without it? Look younger. Okay, so did you see this? Oh, let's do. See if I can pass the sixth.
I'm going to go ahead and start. I'd like to know, what I need to do is find out what you knew already, what you'd like to know today, just from having briefly looked at the lessons, and then we're going to come back and visit this at the end of the day. But if you will go to another tab in your Internet Explorer or in your browser, wherever you're using, and if you will go to, are y'all familiar with Padlet? It's padlet.com/SLBROT/KWL. Padlet is an online sort of it's a collaboration board. It's a thing on mine, but it's where you can get some feedback from students right now. And so we needed to do a KWL so I can know what you know already about it. We have a lot of different levels of experience with learning.com. And so I believe when you go there, it's, let me see if I can. It's it's Padlet, PADLET.com/SLBROTT/KWL.
Send me the address.
And what you're going to do is let us know. You don't see this on my screen up here, but there's a K and a W and an L. We won't get over to the L yet because you haven't learned anything. We'll do that at the end of the day. But in the K, under K, here's what I would like for you to do, if you wouldn't mind. You just double-click somewhere under the L, and you don't have to put your name, but tell me what experience. What do you know already about learning.com and or Inquiry or Easy Tech, any of those products? Tell me what you. But you can add, and you'll see where they're going. It's going to come up. See, someone's already added something. Then also, if you will put something under the W for what you would like to learn today, something you want to learn. Slash SL Broad.
Okay.
Slash KWL. Had ETT. And the neat thing is, I can move these around. Or you may need to move them around. If yours is on top of somebody's, you can move them around. I don't know why they're all piling up in one place. Padlet, if you haven't used it before, it is a great way of giving students a way to brainstorm, maybe in a class. You can also put up, make it into a word wall for the early one. Students, you can create one, a Padlet, give the link to your students, and then they can upload documents to it, or you could upload documents to it, or they can click on it. It's just a really neat thing. The really good part about Padlet is it has an embed code, and for those of y'all that know the embedded HTML, you can create a lesson in learning.com and embed this Padlet in it, and they have access to it from learning.com. I'll show you more this afternoon about some of those other special things that we can do with it. Okay, so we're getting some good feedback here. Yes, learning.com does definitely make lesson planning simple. take about 5 more minutes for you to add your comments there. And I really appreciate your adding them here.
Is this one just for you, or is it a way that we can make one up for ourselves?
You can make a Padlet is free. Create yourself an account. That way you keep it, you know, and go back to it. But there's so many ways with Padlet. You make it public to everyone. Private to certain people. They can, and you can change the background color and everything. It's very, very simple to use. But go to Padlet.com and sign up.
Slow. Slow. Mine is so slow.
Oh, hold on. Is that, let me get a.
Oh, no. I don't know if I do. They all mentioned the teacher fees. What did they do? I thought that was a district thing. No. That was a district.
Secondary, Padlet could be something that you could, I mean, it is, Is the signing sheet still coming around?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right. And if you'll pass it over to this side.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, I think that's a lot. Thank you so much for adding your comments. Let's go over some of these. In the no column, I'm not sure. Okay, someone's work. We'll let the top one get finished. The lessons will be easy. Okay. It makes lesson planning simple. As I understand, Learning.com is a source to assign interactive tech application lessons to students. Absolutely. Easy integration makes grading for your students much easier. Yes, and you know what I really like about it is it can be accessed from anywhere, so you don't have to be on your computer at school. Students can add them, upload them to the platform. It's a tool to help with lessons, remote access, key. What you want to learn today, how to create lesson plans and prepare a syllabus in relation to these new resources. I will try to help you out my best. I don't know who did that one. I want to know how to use the program completely so I can have a good, strong start to the year. It is my goal for you to be thoroughly comfortable so that you know how to add your students, create your classes, assign curriculum to them, to know that by the end of the day. And you want to know about lesson planning. Okay, great. I think we're off to a really good start this morning. Is there anyone that doesn't feel like they have a good idea of what Learning.com is right now? I know you don't know the particulars yet about how to create the classes and all, which we're going to get to do, but you have a good feel for what it is and how it can help you as tech app teachers on your campus. You know, it's the one, because I was most familiar with the K-8 schools in my district. This has just helped them so much in the lab to provide those lessons. Another good point about this, and you were going to see this when we do groups, but let's say you've got those students that have all this technology. They could teach you something about technology, and we have those students. You can create groups, either for remediation or for extension, and you can provide lessons. There's no reason why a 6th grade lesson can't provided to a third grade student that may be ready for it. The disclaimer to that would be in a district where they have a specific that they want to be accomplished at each grade level. You don't want a student to get to grade 6 having done all of the learning.com activities, but there's other ways of creating lessons for them in the platform. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, I'm going to close out of this. We'll visit this again later, and the good thing is all that's still going to be there. So, and like I said, you can, and I'll show you how you can put that into a document. Let me get rid of my email. And I'll go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, this afternoon, what we're going to do is use these demo accounts this morning so that you know, so I can show you when we're all looking at the same account, the same students and everything. I'm going to show you how to create classes this morning, how to add students to classes, how to assign curriculum, and then this afternoon when we have your account information, hopefully everyone will have their account information for their school, then you can log into your own school, and you'll be that much farther ahead before school starts. Good idea? Okay, would everyone come back to classes again? Now, I created your accounts last night. You are teachers in this. I'm going to actually log in right now. I'm going to go into Internet Explorer so that so we're seeing the same thing. And I'm going to log in as one of these.
Can you tell which ones I did?
So maybe we're seeing the same thing now that I'm logging in one of those passwords. Those of you that, if you may have a teacher that's not here and they do have a learning.com account, and we'll talk about this, this is that user agreement that always comes up first. And I know y'all read every word of it, right? You do have to accept it. I'm going to say, no, I don't want to do this. This is your home page, like I spoke to you later. There is a way of not seeing this, but I don't recommend it. You can uncheck that. Really good information. This is I would never dismiss this permanently because there will be some good information that can be given to you through the home page. And you can also, down here, after you've created classes, I'll show you an account of mine that does have some classes with some assignments in it. You can, underneath this page, will tell you when there's an assignment that needs grading, when someone's left a comment, and things like that. All right, so over here, I want you to go ahead and click on My Classes. And since we have so many that are unfamiliar with the Learning.com platform, this is necessary information even if you're using inquiry. So when over on the left-hand side, it says, I don't have any classes anymore. We're going to create a class, or a test class. After this is over, I'm going to wipe these, classes out, these accounts out. So anything you create today, you don't have to worry about it. This is strictly for you to learn how to use this platform. Underneath, and I hope y'all can see this, I know that the projector is sort of light, but the little table is where you create a new class, and all you do is put your cursor and name the class. I don't care what you name it with. How about let's name it with your last name. And then you click Add. you can have as many classes as you want. There's a different, you're going to have to think about how many classes you teach. As tech-out teachers for multiple grade levels, you're going to have to think about how it's best. Are you going to create classes by the homerooms? How many of you, who would like to share with me sort of what you expect as far as number of classes this year? How about if you teach K through 2? Do you have multiple kindergarten classes, multiple first grade classes?
Yeah, have like 3 sections.
3 sections of each grade level. So,
and what I noticed that helped me this year, my kinder teachers would get flashcards, and each student would already have their username and password. So it made me, it made it easier for me instead of going and keying in everybody's name, because you will find some kindergartners that know how to key in themselves, and that helps a lot.
and you know what? I think a lot of it is the attitude of the teacher.
Right.
More than anything, because I've got some schools that refuse to even in the school that I retired from, they have a login from kindergarten through grade 12, and they might as well learn it, because it's their student lunch number and everything else, so they can learn it. But yes, they're in the cards that I gave you today. I printed those out from the class roster. So you can actually print those out. But you may want, this is something that you're going to have to maybe consider over lunch. Might want to get together with each other that have similar teaching assignments. That it might be better to have, you want to be able to name at least everyone that I've talked to in the past. They wanted to name their classes so that they sort of came up in order. Mm-hmm. And so if their kindergarten class, they may want to put a K, and then someone's name, or section 1 or whatever. 1 for the first grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. So you want to have some sort of a naming convention for your classes that makes sense for you when you create these classes. But for this one, we're just going to create one class. So if you would, did everyone create a class? Now, if you did want to practice creating a second class, you would just click the little table again, add another class name, and click Add. So and you can create as many classes as you want. Now, there are ways, though, that you can, that one of my suggestions to the teachers that I've had in the past is that you can create a class and not add students. You can also duplicate a class without the student names. So there's different ways that we'll look at this afternoon that will make this easiest for whatever your assignment is. All right, that's up here in the top. You see, brought to is what I just got through creating. If I want to see all of my classes, I'm going to come back up here to classes, and there's brought, and there's brought to. I have not added any students, assignments, or anything. So this is very, very important navigation part of the program. Start will get you back to the very beginning, that home page. But you can always click right up in this area to take you where you want to go. You may have to click the back button here. Okay, so these are my classes. If I click on one of my classes, that class name is going to be in blue. Whatever is in blue, that's your class name. It also could be a group name if you drill down beyond that, or it could be even an individual student's name. Whatever class or group or student is in blue and you're assigning lessons, that's who gets the lesson. So if you want to assign lessons, which we'll do later, to an entire class, you have to make sure that a class, and well, you have to make sure you're in classes and then you've got a class. They have made a multiple, so let's say you have 3 or 4 third grade classes created already. You can go to an assignment and you can click the classes you want to assign that to. So it's really nice now. But you do at least have to have some classes in order to assign. Okay, so if I clicked on the name of the class, it's going to bring up the grade book, which that, I don't have any classes there yet. Looks like some of y'all might have already, I can't tell what's there. It's hard for me, it's washed out. I think what you're seeing, I would be seeing, except that it's so washed out I can't see the lines. So there are two things. You have to enroll students and assign curriculum. You can either click here in the right hand in the large area, or you can click over here. Like, this is the student tab. You can enroll students. If there is a student that you, and this happens a lot, sometimes we'll get a new student, but they're not in the system yet, you can actually create an account for them. Mm-hmm.
Is there an easy way, because I have more than 620 students, do I need to save all students one by one to the system?
No, the district should put those in there. You should, at least, I know when I was at the district with Carol still, and I was responsible as a district administrator, I uploaded a spreadsheet, and all students went in. So there will be someone responsible for that for you. All you'll need to do is find the students, which it will not be hard, difficult. Okay, you should not have to enter those students at all. All right, but right now, on enroll students, either underneath students or then depending on your grade level, so whenever Harmony gets all the students uploaded into the student database for your school, you would click on your grade level and those students would appear. I'll show you what that looks like in a real district a little later, but for right now, we're just going to practice. So there's several ways you can do this. I don't know how many students are in this demo school. So I'll say, if I teach third grade, you can click on the third grade and it's going to pull only the third graders from the database.
Do I need the sections A, B, C for A and for B?
No, you just need student names. Now, how you create your classes, that'll be up to you. Determine how you want to do that. You could do that. Yes, you could do that.
We will pick up the students and do it class.
And at lunch, I will check to make sure to see if that database has been created for you, so that maybe we could walk through that with your actual students today. Hopefully. Okay. So you'll see that by clicking on the 3, it pulled up the grade 3 students. So all you do, and when you have your real database, you would click through and you would find all the students that are on your class list. So let's just say, I'm just going to do these. Let's say that these students these are all just sample students. You can go through and you can click them, and then click Enroll Selected, and you'll see that their names show up over here. So why don't you choose a grade level? It doesn't matter. These are sample students, and add some students to one of the classes, to the class or one of the classes that you create. Probably add at least 4 or 5, and if there's not enough in that grade level, go to another grade level, or you could do all. I mean, this is just a practice. Everyone have some students in your class? you'll look up this way so I'll know when to go on. And by the way, it'll be time for a break in just a minute. And if you need a break before we have a break, feel free to take one. Okay, since this is just a practice, we're not really looking for any specific students. Now looking back over here, so if I click on brought, again, that was in my student list, the database, but now I'm book again, and it tells me now I need to assign some curriculum to them. All right? So if I go back to classes, and I go to brought to, I have not added any students in there. But I have to do the same process and add students to that class. So I would enroll students. And this time I think I am just going to select all. But you'll want to do it by grade level. You can also enroll them one at a time by clicking the enroll button at the end of their name. But if you're using a large monitor, which I've found to be the case, and a lot of times if you're not using a laptop, some of these larger monitors, there may be this much space. You know, put a space between the name and the enroll button. It's easy to not click the right enroll button. So I like to click the check marks and then do enroll all selected. So now I have two classes, brought and brought to. If I go back to my classes and look at the class list, there's a link underneath that says individual students. I click that link, and there's my individual students. Then when I click on one of those students, I can assign curriculum just to that one student. We'll create a group in a minute, but the same way, whoever is in blue gets the assignment. I need to make up another little rhyme for that. Whoever's in blue. Go back to my classes. I'll click on brought again. If I want to see the student list here, there's the student list. I can also enroll another student. I can add a student. If you want to add a student, and this is going to really depend on the district guidelines of how you may not be able to. The district has the option of giving teachers the right to add a student or not. If you do have that option, that capability, you would click on add students. So say you get a student in today, they're not, if they have an account hasn't been created for them, but you want them to be able to work on the assignment, you could create an account if the district is giving you that capability. Student name, first name, you just fill out this information. Okay, I'm going to go back up to click on my brought. And let's look at some other things that you can see in the grade book. So if everyone will click on one of the classes that you just created, and so that class name is in blue. All right, let's look up here at the grade book again. When there's three tabs. All right, let's go to settings. Right now, I'm in grade book, and we'll go to settings. This is the settings for your class. I've got the name there, which I could change if I wanted to. You could do a description if you needed to. Usually that's not necessary. You would tell the grade level of this class. The lesson certificate, you've got an option of either having the students print a certificate. Most teachers do not want to use the printer. The kids printing a certificate every time they create a lesson. But you have a choice of whether they can print the certificate, view it only, or they don't get a certificate. That's your choice. student tracking. If you don't choose yes there, then they're not going to show up in the grade book. You have to choose yes, or their scores will not show up. Assignment sequence. I have not had you look at a list of assignments for you as a student right now, but assignment sequence, you may assign a whole unit. You might assign a whole y'all do 6 weeks, 9 weeks
No,
for them. Lessons to do. Forced means they have to complete the first one before they can go to the second one. They have to complete the first 2 before they go to the third. All right. The open means they can pick and choose. So it depends on your students and what you want. That's what forced and what open means. Class and group commenting, on or off. In inquiry now, the students have the capability of chatting, doing online comments and chats with each other and with a teacher. But that has to be allowed here. So in your class, you have to allow this. Now, if you're going to end up creating 15 or 20 different classes, you may want to create a class and make all these choices before you add students to it. Then duplicate that class with a different name so you don't have to go back into this. And to do that, see, I've made these choices here. I'm going to save the changes. Oh, minimum score. I did not do the minimum score. That is something that would be school, a school or district decision. But at the very, let me go back up. Do y'all remember where I found that, where it was in? Settings. You have a minimum score of 80. Save the changes. And if I had, if I had 5 sections of third graders and 5 sections of second graders and 5 sections of first graders or fifth graders or whatever you have, instead of having to do that with every single class, what you can do, that was brought, this is, it's hard to see these. I don't know, you can't see that up there. It's the third icon from the right, and it's the duplicate a class or group button. So when you click on that, then you're going to select. I made those changes to brought. I'm not going to duplicate students. If I had assignments in it, I could duplicate the assignments. So sometimes I think it's easier, if you know what assignments you're going to create, you could create one class, change the settings, add some assignments, and then duplicate that. But either way, you've got your choice. I'll uncheck that for now. And you have to give it a name. So this time I'll call it Brought 3. And click Add. Now I want you to see the difference. If I go up to Brought 3 settings, those settings, change that. There's the 80. There's that. So it's already done. I don't have to go in and make those changes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any questions about that? So you're going to, by the time you've used this for a couple of weeks, you're going to find a lot of little tips and tricks and ways to make things easier. But this is one of the ways that I would suggest if you have a lot of classes at the same grade level, create one class, make the setting changes that you want it to do, and then duplicate that class. Because you can always go back into those classes you duplicated and add students and assignments. All right, so now I go back and look. I have 3. Brought 2 is not going to have those changes that I made. All right, then, so move back up to Brought. Okay. If you don't see the grade book at any time, if you want to see the grade book and you don't see it, what do I need to do? Because this is going to happen. You'll be in this case right here in a few minutes, and then you're going to go look in the library for something to assign to that class, and the library is going to be here in the middle. How can I get back to my grade book? Notice that when I click library up here, this changes, but this has not. And I can get, maybe I'm just down here, in here. How can I get back to my grade book to see the actual grade book?
Click on your name.
Click on my name, good. So if I click on my name, I see the grade book, which I don't have no assignments in. All right, so we looked at the grade book, there's the settings. Student view is what the students would see, but I also want you to see too. Because I created your demo accounts and I added your teachers, so you see what you're seeing. A student does not see that. So when a student logs in, if you'll go back up here to classes, go back to the start. This is where you got classes. This is your curriculum. See, this is my assignments. Normally, you will not see that. But because you're in a class that I gave you an assignment as a teacher, you'll click on that. This is what students see when they log in. When a student logs in, this comes up. They don't have any of that other stuff that you see. Their account. Now, this only has one, but if they were in more than one class, there'd be a drop-down menu here. They could exit here, but these are their assignments. And they would click on an assignment. There's the pre-test. And they would go to the pre-test. And they would start it. Okay, I'm going to X out that. Okay. Any questions about that?
Could you walk us again from classes to the library to the assignment?
Yeah, sure. So if they go to, so I'm in my classes,
Okay.
I'm in Broad, and then I went up to, let's just say I'm looking for an assignment. So I went up to the library, which is what you did a while ago. We haven't gotten into assigning class lessons, which we're going to in just a second, but whatever's in this view, if you want to get back to your grade book, you click on the name of that class. If it's another class grade book you want to get to, you click up here. But just for today, because you're in a told you as a teacher, but I also put you in a class with some assignments. You're seeing this right here. Normally you will not see that. And this is just so that you can see, go through an assignment as a student. Otherwise, remember a while ago when we were looking at learning, looking at some of the inquiry, and said you could look at them, but you really couldn't answer all the questions? This lets you go through an assignment, a pre-test and everything, as if you are a student. Give you that option. Okay, I want to go back to my classes, because now I'm going to show you how easy it is to assign something to a class. Once you've got your classes made, what time is it, by the way?
Yeah.
Before we do that, let's take a break. Then, before we get into assigning curriculum, let's take about a 10-minute break. And then we'll come back in and we'll assign some curriculum. And I'm going to check and see what kind of logins I've got for y'all. It's about 10 after 10. Well, what time is it now? About 5 after 10.